You know what? Let's give the people what they want. Okay, intro time. So, my guest today, Britney Spears, was not able to make it because she's dealing with some personal issues at the moment. But luckily, my sister Kamala has stepped in to fill in for her hosting duties. So, welcome to You Don't Know, because you may think you know, but you don't know. In today's episode, we'll be talking about Game of Thrones. Ding. Okay, okay. So we're not going to give a summary of Game of Thrones. Either you know it or you don't. We're just going to talk about the messed up. We're just going to give our opinions. We're just going to start talking. Kamala, give me your opinions.
Well, I just want to start off with way to screw it up because, okay, here's my thing. This was like a cultural phenomenon. How many other shows can you think of that every day, if you go into work, everyone watched it? Everyone watched it every week. Everyone was up to date. If you didn't watch it on the Sunday night, you were screwed on Monday at work because you were
Well,
going to
that's exactly like RuPaul's Drag Race.
No, it's not.
Okay, so you heard it here, folks. My sister is a homophobic. So
Okay.
continue with your straight heteronormative show, Game of Thrones, okay?
Okay.
Yes.
um, and then so all I could think is like, how did they screw it up at the end? If they didn't screw it up, what would people be?
Well, we'll back up. First of all, can we just talk about the homosexuality in Game of Thrones? Because every time there was a homosexual scene, it's like, oh, you're dead. Like, no, listen, there was the brother
Which
of the
brother?
Lord of Light. Remember the cute brother? He
Oh.
died. He had gay sex. He died. The brother of the sister, he had gay sex, got put in that conversion camp cult thing.
Oh yeah, that was really weird.
And I feel like there's another gay person that died. I feel like there were three gay sex scenes and all of them died. And it's like, oh, this is hot, but you're gonna die. So that's it. Yes. But yes, I would agree. Way to mess it up. But also, can we just talk about George R. R. Martin? It's like finish your, you know what I mean? Like I
I
blame him because you can blame HBO all you want, but they invested a huge amount of money into each episode, like it was ridiculous. But they were following the story that George R. R. Martin wrote, and I get that he didn't finish it, and also I get that he wanted to be different from the books compared to the TV show. But he's the one that told them how to end it. So maybe okay, fine. Maybe there's something to say about story or it being a bit, but like he's the one who gave that ending. And even though we can say that just like the last season seemed very rushed, it went from one moment to all of a sudden it's the end of the war,
yeah.
and everything's like wrapped up in like a matter of like one episode. But so that fine, you might be able to blame on HBO or the producers, but the ending, regardless of how we got to the ending was terrible.
Oh yeah, I think the ending was terrible, but I do think with proper pacing, it might have been okay. I feel like we really could have led up to Daenerys being batshit crazy.
Okay, but she was also the one that was like killing people, like bend the knee or my dragons will kill you. So
Well, that's why I thought like it could have progressed better. I think it could have, again, not that I want them dragged out forever, but I think like George R. R. Martin, again, yes, he doesn't even finish those books. I refuse to start them. I've started the first one, and then it's like, why? Why am I doing this to myself? I'm never going to get an ending, so it doesn't
yeah.
matter. But I feel like if they did have his books, they would have paced it because it was the first few seasons were slow and like in a good way, like it built up to
Yes.
something. And then when all they had were the bullet points, they're like, well, let's just go from bullet point 1 to 2. They couldn't figure out how to fill up that space in between, which is weird. It's like, you think you've been adapting his novels for so long, you can kind of like figure out how to do it. But
I wonder if left to their own devices, if the writers and producers of that show, if George R. R. Martin said, I don't have an ending, you're on your own. Because I just wonder, because like you're right, up until the last season, it was a really
last
good
two seasons,
last two seasons. It was a
yeah.
really good show. And like, yeah, the pacing and the story, it's like where it's like fine. Some episodes may be like, wait, did anything really happen? And the answer may be no, but it was still entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But then I feel like with the yeah, like I just think that the ending itself was bad because never mind the pacing. It's like, okay, Arya's being built up as this like changing face, like super assassin
Yeah.
thing. And then I do like her moment of killing the Night King.
It makes no
But
sense.
it was also a very badass moment where it's like she's being held by the neck and she drops her knife picks up with the other hand and then just like stabs him.
Could they have
That
changed her face at least? The whole entire thing that she learned to do.
but then that's exactly my point. And then like afterwards, like, okay, I killed the Night King. And like and then she's like done. She's like, okay, I'm it's like she's like the rest of the episodes, like she's not even like in the story. And then also Bran, it's like, okay, you spend several seasons building up to you being this mystical creature, and like all the and I think also it ruined it too with like the internet with like all their theories and stuff of him like, oh, maybe he grows up to be the Night King or whatever.
Yeah.
Which also would have been a cool story to tell too. But I also feel like his story just ended where it's like, okay, but you're this magical shape, not shape shifting, but like, traveling through time and
Mm-hmm.
space sort of thing, and then all of a sudden you just become king. Like what was
Yeah.
the point? Like, why didn't you just stay in your wheelchair like the entire like series? Like, what was the point of you being that mystical thing? Like, that seemed kind of silly.
That was ridiculous. Jon Snow, he got ripped off. He should have been king. Like,
Well, okay, and also like Cersei didn't get her justice, or like it's like Arya. The entire point was that Arya was going to kill her, and then it's like,
yeah.
like I feel like that was like it's like I'm not saying like brutal, but she deserved a better death. I think
Yeah.
it's like you spend the entire seasons like, oh, this conniving like evil person, and then she just what happens? Does it like the
Yeah.
castle fall on her or something?
Yeah. Her and her brother.
Yeah, yeah. It's like no, you deserve to get killed by one of the Starks. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if not Arya, then what's the redhead?
Sansa?
Sansa, yes.
Yeah.
Like one of them should have been the one to kill you.
Yeah. No, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, that would have made Arya should have gotten her revenge there. And then, yes. And then I feel like Jon Snow should have killed the king. It just
Yes.
doesn't make sense, man. I don't understand all of these other families. Like in the end, it was just nothing. Why was I memorizing all these family trees? Like, oh my gosh.
Yes. And then also I felt like the pairing of John and Daenerys was a bit maybe not forced. Maybe okay, maybe actually no, maybe their pairing was organic, but then I feel like her jealousness or anxiety around the relationship that seemed to kind of come out of the blue, where it's like, what, like you're supposed to be the strong, powerful woman, but yet it just seemed very kind of like almost like anti-feminist or like anti-female power, where it's like, oh, I need you to love me, and if you don't love me, I'm gonna go crazy. You know what I mean? It seems like
Yeah.
a needy girlfriend where I'm like, it's like I get fine that you don't want to be betrayed by your lover or whatever, but at the same time, like you've disposed of men before too, like in a very empowering way, where it's like
Mhm.
I'm just using you for sex and move on, sort of thing. So like I feel like yeah, I feel like that, like her neediness leading to her downfall was like that's a silly way to incite her downfall, was her needing or her neediness around the relationship, because that's what caused her to go crazy, or that was like the beginning of her going crazy. And
Yeah.
it's like okay, if all the ways to trigger her descent into madness, which fine makes sense, like like the circle of life, like her dad was crazy king, but it's like uh yeah, I just felt like that was a silly trigger for it to happen, where it could have been something else, or just even like slowly progressing into that craziness. But I felt like that was kind of a disservice to the character, where it's like you built a strong woman like walking out of a fire, like a burning hut sort of thing, and
Yeah.
then it ends with that. Like,
I
yeah.
agree. No, and also I side note, I feel really bad for all the people that name their kids. Apparently a lot of people name their kids Khaleesi in those like intervening in those years in between. It's like
Okay, I do not feel bad for those kids or those parents. um
I feel bad for the kids. Okay, the parents, yeah, you kind of got ahead of yourself there, but
my problem is naming my kid Beyonce. If Beyonce doesn't put out another album, then I'm screwed. Oh, also, when is Rihanna going to put out another album?
I don't know. She is supposed to soon though. She is.
Okay, I'm going to spill some tea. So pay attention, folks. And when this comes true, just refer back to this podcast. So David Guetta and Rihanna, they've submitted a claim for copyright or patent or whatever you call it for a song that features, do you know Snap, Rhythm is a Dancer? Rhythm is a Dancer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So apparently the song samples that
Mhm.
song. So they submitted a copyright claim to secure the rights for it. And on the claim was David Guetta and Rihanna. So rumor has it that they're working on a song that will sample Snap Rhythm as a Dancer. So when this becomes true, just know that I gave you the tea first. Okay, you know what? See, how did we get here? We're talking about Game of Thrones. Where did Rihanna come from? Can we stay focused on the topic? I realize that that's our problem, is that we don't stay still focused on the topic. What
Okay.
else can we say about Game of Thrones?
Oh, man.
There's a prequel series coming.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to trust again.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, has there been any update on when he's plans on finishing the book? Because I wouldn't necessarily read the books, but I would read the synopsis as to how it ends.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, he still has 2 books to go though.
Hmm.
So, I mean,
Well, I did, I do have like the first box set of like maybe the first 4 or 5 books that are available. Like it was like a box that I got. And I started reading the first one, and my problem was that I read it like right after I watched season 1 or 2 or however many seasons, and it just felt more like, oh, I know exactly what happens, or you know what I mean. So it kind of felt like, okay, I'm not really. There's no excitement or joy to reading this because it like I felt the first season was very faithful to the first book, so it kind of felt like um it's
yeah.
like it's kind of like, okay, I want to skip half, and I also like they're, you know, like they're huge books. I kind of want to like skip halfway through, but then there is also like additional details too. So it's kind of like, okay, I need to suffer through knowing like, yes I know, like I, you know what I mean, and then
Yeah.
just to get somewhere new, like, oh, I didn't know that. Um, but yeah, maybe I will take it up. I mean, I have them, I might as well read them, but
I just
uh,
have the first one. I feel like, okay, if he ever does finish the books or if someone finishes it for him one day, I will then, and I feel like enough time will pass where I kind of forgot some of the details of the show where,
okay, but also don't you think, okay, like I get that he had commitments with the TV and show, but also don't you just think it's like extremely disrespectful when you're writing a series to go, what has it been, like 10 years or more since a book? Like
I think
so
so.
even if I was a diehard like a book fan, it's like, okay, even if you come up with a book tomorrow, I'll read it and be like, wait, what's that? Like, I forgot what I've read a year ago, let alone 10
Yeah.
years ago. No matter how good it is, I would still need to read the original again, or at least the last book again, to be
Mhm.
like, where did we leave off? So, I think that writers, when they're committing to like a series like that, they need to commit to like not like a like solid schedule, but like at least like a 1 to 2 year schedule, because I feel like it's disrespectful to your fans. Where it's like, okay, the only reason you're on book 10 is because your fans gave you all this money and attention, but now you're disrespecting them by not releasing something. Um, and if your commitments with the TV show were preventing you from writing and finishing the book, then maybe you should have stepped back from that to be like, the producers and writers can read my books that are already published. I don't need to be in the writer's room or the producer's room. I can be at home
Mhm.
writing it. So I don't know. I found that to be kind of shady, like where it's like
No, I agree. I remember once he did like a conversation with Stephen King and he literally asked Stephen King like how do you write so much, and it's like because he treats it as a job. Stephen King's the best. I love Stephen King.
okay, but do you think Stephen King actually writes his own books?
Oh yeah, he 100% does. He no, James Patterson, a lot of those other people don't, but Stephen King, he has a schedule like he doesn't stop. He in the morning he goes to write and then he has a certain time that he finishes writing. He treats it like an actual day job. And so yeah, he actually had a problem where that's why he released back in like I don't know, was it the 80s? He released under a different name a few books, and it was because his publisher was like you can't release this many books at once, like it looks bad, it'll cheapen your name. So then he wrote under, what was it, Richard Bachman I think or something, and he wrote some other books.
This seems like Chris Gaines. This seems like a Chris Gaines, Garth Brooks thing.
I don't know who that is.
Do you know who Garth Brooks is?
I know who Garth Brooks is.
Okay, so in 1999, there's this new singer called Chris Gaines, but it just turns out to be Garth Brooks in a wig. And it was kind of more like it was still country, but kind of like you know, like soccer mom music, not Nickelback, but you know, like that kind of like
Yeah, okay.
Doth, wait, what's his name? Daughtry, like kind of like that kind of like music of like
Mm, okay.
you know like soccer mom music. Anyways, he released it as Chris Gaines, and then he got found out. It was like this really weird thing where it's like people thought he was crazy, but he was saying that it's because if he released it under Garth Brooks, no one would listen to it, which may have been true.
Mm,
But anyways, as soon as he's found out, the ego died. So let's all have a moment of silence for Chris Gaines.
okay.
Yes. But yeah, okay, well then fine. Then tell George R. R. Martin to
To write.
hire a ghostwriter. You have money. Like no, okay, listen. I think he's probably set for life, like beyond set for life. I'm not saying like he's middle class set for life. I think he's wealthy, rich from all the franchise, like from the TV show, the products that came, like the merchandise and everything else. I think he's set for life. And maybe he doesn't have the drive. He's like, okay, I don't need to eat. I don't need to write this book to eat, but at least tell someone how to finish the book to be like, okay, I have no time for this because I'm rich and happy. So here's how I want the story to go. Write it for me. Like it's not hard to hire a writer.
No.
I hired one right now. These words, I'm just reading it off the screen right now, and you would never tell because that's how easy it is to get a ghostwriter. So yes. Um, okay, I feel like we exhausted this topic.
Perhaps. Who would be your favorite character though in the end?
Jon Snow and the wildling. What was the wildling's name?
Which one?
Rose.
The one that his like wife in real life?
Yeah.
Why? That is a lie.
What's her name?
In the show, I forget.
Oh.
I don't know. She's your favorite character. What's her name?
No, I said Jon Snow. And I liked when he was with the wildling because they were like it's like hate where it's like like when Spike and Buffy were like fighting each other and the house was falling down, or like Big Little Lies sort of thing with like was it Reese Witherspoon? Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman.
Yes, where it's like kind of like this like kind of like nothing Jon Snow, and then they kind of like and then they take a break, a breather, and then they get in like the hot springs or something, and then it's like like she was like bouncing on that like several times. So I like that relationship, but that kind of like nothing, but I'm gonna own you sort of thing. I thought that was fun. But then she died. She died from that little boy. But
yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah, also they never really explained him coming back to life. What's up with that? Why did he come back to life?
You thought the gods would play a bigger role because it was like
also, yes, okay, can we go back to the red witch or whatever her name is? She's what was her role? She was like this big, like, oh, being of light, like giving a shadow baby, like giving birth to a shadow baby. And then it's like, and then I think at the end, I think she like lights the torches of they're lined up, I feel like.
Oh yeah, something like
that. But she does something really silly, like she just like lights the torches and it's like, thanks. I forgot my lighter at home. But I didn't understand the point of that. Okay, you know what? I have to wrap this up because, as I mentioned before, I do have somewhere to be at in the next 12 minutes. And there you have it, folks. Game of Thrones, where you may have thought you knew, but you don't know. But let's be honest with this episode. We didn't really tell you anything. We kind of just went off topic a little bit. But I think it'll be entertaining nonetheless. You know what? You know something now, whether it's about Rihanna, Chris Gaines, what was Stephen King's alter ego?
Richard Bachman.
Something. You learned something today. You know something now. So tune in next week where my guest, Olivia Rodriguez, will tell me about her problems. So tune in. You don't want to miss this episode. And she has confirmed that she's going to be here next week. So be excited. And Kamala, thank you so much for stepping in for hosting duties when my other guests have canceled on me. But next week we'll be on your own. But thanks. Wait, don't do filters.
I am just looking. I've never used a filter before, although I do feel like the lighting is crap today because of the rain.
Okay, let's do Let's do filter. No, just do it. Yeah. Okay, see, I think this gives us a good kind of like Taylor Swift, Evermore kind of thing, you know?
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? Oh, I saw the new Saw movie.
Oh, I started watching the original Saw. That's funny. So I watched Saw 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wait, because there's six, right?
I think so. I don't think I've seen, so I saw the first three, like not recently. And then I saw the last one before this, I want to say is, and then this one I watched. I didn't really like, it wasn't terrible, but I felt like it wasn't very, yeah, it kind of was. Like it wasn't, I enjoyed the original Saw movie, but it also makes me kind of want to rewatch it to be like, am I just imagining in my head it was good? Because to me, the first
Well,
one was really good.
it's okay. Well, that's the thing is I watched it and I thought it was really good too. And I watched it and I was like, oh, maybe it was just okay. Like, you know what I mean? Like I remember thinking like, oh my God, this is like torture porn. Like this is like really graphic.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't. The first one wasn't that bad. Yes, there's like the reverse bear trap and everything, but like it wasn't actually very violent. I found the following movie, either
Mm.
two or three, I was like, it was very violent, where like this guy, he's in the same trap as the beginning, and he doesn't have a saw, so what he does is he breaks his foot, like his ankle, which is so I
Uh,
didn't understand why he did that. It's like, but you still need to get like fit your foot. But I guess maybe if it's broken, you can bend the foot so it goes. I don't know.
I
I didn't see the point of breaking your foot, but whatever.